Back here with week 3, right? Yeah, 3 of
Yep.
friend ball. We're a bit late this week, partly because you know, the match happened really late in the week. I think it was Sunday,
Hmm.
and then we just didn't get time to record. It's been a busy week. So yeah, we're here with week 3. We have Peanutscratch versus Mathgeek. Um, Steven, what do you think of these teams?
Uh, I don't have a whole lot to say about the team preview. I think Ambipom is kind of sus into this team, but whatever. Like, maybe it won't click fake out. And I
Yeah,
get that Heliolisk is here for like the gimmick that Math runs, slight spoilers. But with Sceptile on the other side, I don't really like its odds.
Sceptile and the Jolteon, which I guess he could not know the
Yeah.
Jolteon's coming. But yeah, I agree with that. I feel like, you know, Roaring Moon is the obvious thing
Yeah.
missing from this point, from this picture on MathGeek's side. Um, I know that after
Yeah.
the
I get
match,
not.
yeah, he said he
Yeah,
was
go
worried
ahead.
about fairy coverage,
Yeah.
which I feel like is kind of like a, well, at that point, why did you draft that thing type deal if you're not going to bring it into a psychic train team, um,
Yeah.
just because there's fairy coverage on the board. Uh, so that was questionable. You know, it's not the end of the world, but on team preview,
Yeah. I feel like it's your duty to oh, they have a Primarina on their team. Like, how do I make sure that I can have it not sweep my Roaring Moon? And that, like, it's just a matter of, like, just because they haven't have it doesn't mean that it's, like, unable to be played around.
yeah, completely agree. Like that's a great. I think that's a great strategy to have team building if you identify like something that you have to bring but has like a strong counter, or you're worried about like a random dazzling gleam on Indeedee. You still bring the thing, but you have to make sure you know how to play it safe. Like you could run Rosalie Berry if you're really worried about like a dazzling gleam coverage.
Yeah.
You could run, booster energy to make sure you're outspeeding the Mega Sceptile or the, yeah, I don't know, things like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but if I were Math Geek and I was sitting at the Steam preview, knowing I didn't have Moon, I would be thinking immediately about what to do on a Psychic Train lead, because at that
Yeah.
point, like, if you aren't prepared to deal with the lead, then the sweep will commence.
Yeah. And I think Matt said after, like, or before the game started, he was like, these are the 6 mons I thought Peanut would bring, but then says that he did not anticipate the psychic lead, which I feel like is a pretty, I don't want
Yeah,
to say easy call, but like it's the like the crux of this team. The first mon that was drafted was the Indeedee.
yeah, I very much agree with that. I don't see any Pokemon here that is a better lead week, after week than a DD. Not only does it set up the board state of Psychic Terrain that Peanut is playing by, it has, the Follow Me, it has, I don't know, just like a plethora of supportive options that are perfect for a lead. So yeah, that it might have been a bit of a misjudgment on the prep part for MathGeek. But I think, yeah, just kind of a live and learn. It's friend ball.
Yeah,
It's not that
not the highest
consequential.
stakes.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I will. I'll start us off here.
Prankster, Klefki, and Psychic Terrain also a bold move.
Yep. Yep. Yet another one. So yeah, there it is. There's the psychic train lead as we expected. I mean, as one I think anyone would have expected. And it's just gonna, yeah, the expanding forces will start.
Yeah. I guess the priority Klefki here is useful for the getting late screen up before Indeedee guaranteed. So
That's
it's not like fully, it's just, it's rough to run T-Wave on it.
a very, yeah, very true. And then here comes, just like I said before, like the expanding forces are starting, and he's probably wishing he had that roaring moon right about now.
Yeah.
I love the name Wattweiler. That's like my favorite thing.
It is very good.
Um,
Unfortunately, I'm surprised Volcanion doesn't die from that Volt Switch, but it's not going to matter.
Hard switching the Great Tusk into an expanding force. I,
Yeah.
I want to pause here. So I think after the match, something else Mathgeek had said was just like he felt like he had no good switch-ins to Psychic Expanding Force. At that point, you just don't switch in. You have to let the things on the field die. Like that's the
Yeah.
only option, I think. Um, and you're playing at a deficit of 2 now. Just pretend they're dead, wait for them to die. You bring in Tusk at full health, and as we just saw, it can live It can barely live an expanding force. So
Yeah.
there
I
were
mean, if
plays
that
to be
lives and
made.
then gets an ice spinner off, right, to nullify future expanding forces,
Yep.
like I think you're in pretty decent shape.
Yeah. Very much agree. So just any sort of, if you find yourself in a situation where you're looking at your switch-ins and you're thinking like, well, everything I switch in takes most of their health bar, you just got to play for the free switch after your Pokemon die. You can't just switch in everything. But yeah, Tuska's out here at 7% now. He does get a free switch from Ambipom, but Ambipom is not allowed to fake out because of Psychic Train. Oh shit.
It's not a Mathgeek game if there's an easily avoidable nullified fake out,
Yeah,
but c'est la vie.
there goes
Down
another
she
single
goes.
target expanding force now. So real rough. Here comes Heliolisk into its biggest threat. Um, it this is just a wild turn. I'll let it play out first. So Thunder in the sun, Hurricane in the sun. Not only did he throw out two rain moves that were 50% accurate in the sun, he also threw the Thunder out into the slot where Sceptile was.
Yeah, bold. I
So,
mean, calling the switch, like, if that had been targeted into the Primarina, I could see that being the switch. But since it was going into the Indeedee, it's
oh,
like,
okay.
okay,
It was in
well,
this slot.
that wouldn't have helped much.
Yeah.
Um, but also, if you let this turn finish out, I think it's in just Indeedee clicks expanding force. So, okay, you can pause now. Freaking Charizard gains some bulk on Mega Ing, but judging by how much that did, like you had light screen up, and it would not have been a significant enough difference. So I think the play there was not Mega Ing Charizard, and like because originally like Prim wasn't on the field, so it was Indeedee Sep. Sceptile can't really do anything to Charizard. I guess it can launch a Dragon Pulse
Yeah.
or something, but I think there's little reason for you to Mega, especially if you're clicking Hurricane Thunder, because you turn two 100% like can't miss moves into 50% hits.
I kind of agree with that, but Charizard gains a lot of offense from Mega In, and he is playing from a 6v3 at the time deficit. So I don't know. I could see the rationale
Mm.
for, I'm crossing my fingers at this point. I have to see these things hit or I'm losing anyway. Like if he's
Yeah,
dealing with
I guess that's fair.
base no item Charizard effectively, um, the
Yeah.
Hurricane wasn't gonna do enough. So that I could see that happening. That being said, like yes, running Hurricane on your Sun team is questionable. Don't look at my team, but I have no guard, so that's different. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I see the vision with the rain up, but I think kind of anti-synergistic regardless to try and capitalize on the worst weather for you if you're going to have to pop the weather to be able to kill things.
I mean, absolutely. Like for the scenario where Charizard has rain up means that he has Mega'd, left the field, or maybe not left the field, but Mega'd, and then at some point, Clefheat's clicked Rain Dance.
Yeah.
Um, and at that point, yeah, I don't know. I think that this is something that, I mean, this match happened last week, but we had a match this week, which was also Mathgeek playing into Whiskey, and I remember in the match, Mathgeek he remarked surprised at how much overheat from Rotom Heat did in the sun at -2. I think Rotom fired off 2 overheats. The second one did at least half, if not more, of the health bar. And Rotom's got like 50% less special attack than Charizard. I think if I were to give one piece of advice to Mathgeek is that he should be clicking fire moves more with Charizard and Sun. That's the thing it
Yeah.
does. He's played it very supportive almost so far. Like it's like supportive in the sense that it gets the Sun up for his team and it clicks Tailwind. He's done that a lot, and I don't think it's bad to run Tailwind on Charizard, but you're sacrificing a lot of damage every turn that you do. Um, so that's my
Yeah.
thing. I mean, Sceptile was in this slot. Sceptile is neutral to fire. I want to say that fire was going to be like if he had thrown off an overheat into the Sceptile, it probably would have done the same, if not more damage than the Hurricane. That's just my guess, but
Yeah. I don't know. I think there's also like I get wanting your gimmick of anti-weather on your own side to work, so I'm not like I don't want to berate too badly, but
That's
just
fair.
it
Yeah.
played out unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess. Yeah. We're sitting here in retrospect saying this and that, but
Yeah,
it's a friendable match. Finally, the psychic train goes down, and this would be the time, if ever, to go for that sweep. Thunderwave gets blocked. What stars are doing? He clicking a fire move. Let's go.
he did it.
Unfortunately, this was not a documented kill in that it is not part of the record. So Charizard's
Yeah.
first kill of the season.
Let the record show on before this turn started, I typed out in the message you want to click Thunderwave so bad, and then didn't send it lest it prevent this scenario from playing out exactly the way it did. And then I was vindicated by history
Wonderful.
by clicking Thunderwave.
Wonderful. Yeah. I guess he didn't realize. Yeah, he said in the chat here, does not realize that Thunderwave is affected by Lightning Rod. It is. And now we know that.
Yeah. And then we get to see Peanut's actual gimmick of using round as speed control, but
I didn't
the game was
know
pretty
round was a
long.
sound move.
Yeah, that's hilarious actually. Thanks to Liquid Voice, I think we have seen the first ever Sun weakened round.
Except the rain was up.
No, it wasn't on the previous turn, right? Yeah, I think they both go for rounds here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Incredible.
The funny thing about round is the fact that it goes after, like, if one person clicks round, like, regardless of speed, if anyone clicked round that turn, they will follow it up.
Which is kind of I could see the vision with the Mega Sceptile, base 145 or something like that speed.
Yeah.
It's like a after you at that point,
Pretty much, except an after you that does damage.
Wonderful.
Using Sceptile's good attack set. Ignore that it's like a 60 base power move or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's the match there. Almost a 6-0. We got a 5-0 instead. A lot of lessons learned from Mathgeek here, namely bring your dark type into Psychic Train, bring prep into your opponent. That's I guess an oversimplification, but research things like Lightning Rod, research things there seemed to be a lot of surprise throughout this match of, oh, this works like that. Look at the Smogon page for your opponents. At the very least, they're S through Bs, and if there's a ability you're not familiar with, or I guess there's the case where you feel like you have a handle on it and you're not realizing some niche case.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not if you look it up even if you feel like you're confident, because who knows? There could be edge cases like utility umbrella, which is the topic of the week apparently.
So I feel like here's my catch-all. By the way, here's my catch-all strategy for, you think you know exactly how something works and then it doesn't work like that. Run a practice match, like throw up an incognito browser, make a fake user, throw the team and team builder that you think your opponent will bring, and literally just play both sides of the chessboard. And not only is it a good exercise for you to see well, if I was in this scenario, even though in this, obviously what the opponent is carrying because you made the team, but just throwing out board states and trying to say well, if I was here, what would I do? Not only does that help you develop some sort of good habits or foresight for the match, it'll identify things oh, well, now I've learned I can't click Sunny Day. One thing that this happened for me was last week when I was fighting Techno. Originally I brought Defog to get Stealth Rocks down, and in my practice match I defogged a Annihilate without realizing that I would proc Defiant. But then in the match, I see that happens, and eventually I drop Defog, but point being, it's a good way for you to just get those mistakes out in a very low stakes environment, and I think that would have saved Mathgeek a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Good job, Peanut, representing Timer Ball.
Yeah. Pretty good match, I think.
And good nicknames, Peanut. Perception Check, very good. I forget. I think this was Full Metal Malcolm or something like that. That wasn't revealed.
Yes.
Very good.
The Chi Yu was Nuclear Fission, which was my fave.
That's great. Weiler is amazing. I don't really get Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Drowney, because it's a water type.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I hope I typed that in right to the nickname sheet. I'll have to check later. And then Psychosis is pretty good as well. So good nicknames. Love it. All right. Well,
Cool.
yeah, we will see you. I will say next week, but it's actually this week for week 4 since we're behind.
Whoa.